It's all right. Been up all night working, and now it's time to have a conversation. All right, I'm here. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, don't tell me my drink. Oh, y'all, my damn drink done busted. Lord. You guys, what a morning. I had like 2 hours of sleep. Okay, I'm here. Matter of fact, I don't know where this is leaking from, but we'll just do that. Good morning, girl. Why was I call you girl? Sorry, Robin. Robin, this fruit punch. Fruit punch from Sonic. It's okay. I need to wash this blanket anyways because I squirted all over it last night. And now it's like mixed with squirt and fruit punch. But after this live, I'm gonna clean up my station, aka my closet. And I'm gonna go wash this cover because it's like oily, squirty fruit punch. Mm. Yeah, so today I'm going live with Platinum Pussy Carrie from iHeart BBW. Make sure y'all go follow it. So I'm gonna link everything in the description. Follow it. Follow their YouTube channel. Can I say it correctly? Go follow them on YouTube. Follow them on Instagram. iHeartBBW.com. I'm going to get the Twitter because I know there's one. I just don't want to fuck up the name. It might be the same thing. But anyways, the whole iHeartBBW fam. So I'm gonna after we finish the conversation, I'm gonna link everything down below. Hey,
Hey,
it's the CEO.
you like that?
I like that.
Oh, look at your new little backdrop.
Oh yeah, it's just something I throw up in my closet.
You're in your closet?
Yeah, this is my closet. So I'm in that whole process with my roommates getting up out of here. So, and I was like, this whole time we've been living here, I've always wanted to make my closet the cam area. So now I can finally get it going. I need to give you some iHeart BBW merch. I'm gonna give you some in Chicago.
I just made some. Hold on. I got a bunch new glitter vinyl. So we have the pink.
Okay, that's the one I like.
Okay, so that's a crop top. And then this one I made for St. Patrick's Day.
That's cute.
With the green. So, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. So I decided to start these because I have a lot of friends that have YouTube channels or that I would just like to see through their YouTube channels. And just going live with people. But I didn't want to make it like an interview. Just
kind of morning talk, chit chat.
Yeah, chit chat with all Paisley's porn friends.
Yes, Paisley support friends. We've been friends. I think I started being friends with you like towards the beginning because you were friends with Danica, right?
Mm-hmm. So we met in person for the first time last year at Chicago Exotica.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so much fun. So I got to be in the fashion show. I was nervous because I'd never walked on stage before like that, but it was all fun.
But you killed it.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. So so Chicago Exotica, we're coming back around. So what's the plans for iHeart BBW there?
Okay, so I'm getting in Wednesday morning. And Wednesday, I'm going to do some tourist type Chicago style stuff. I usually, this year, I made a pact with myself that I was going to do more personal fun stuff, even though I'm probably going to vlog and film and do all that kind of stuff. I go these places and I spend all this money and I don't get to have personal experiences. it's always work, 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 all business, no play.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, um, as I transitioned into 2023, one of the pacts that I made with myself was that I was going to give myself more personal time. And so I'm going early so that I can do the fun things. And then Thursday is the slumber party, which
Okay.
we have fun.
You know I'm gonna be at that slumber party.
Yes. So we're gonna do the slumber party. This year it's different. Last year we had fun because it was our first one. Not the Chicago. Yeah, the Chicago one was our first one, and we had a lot of fun. But this year, because now I have a social media manager, Big Cherry.
Oh, I love Big Cherry.
She's so we're putting together like TikToks and reels and all kinds of cute things that we can do together. And the slumber party is just an opportunity for us to get to know each other. A lot of us have never met before. We've all been like online friends or like online doing our lives, which we go live on Thursdays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. So
I Heart BBW
on YouTube. We go on at 10 on Instagram just to kind of get built up and get ready. But then we go live right here on YouTube at 11 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. So yeah, Thursday's the slumber party, and then Friday is the first day of Exotica, and our themes are burlesque.
Okay, I like that thing.
And then Saturday is sexy lingerie. And Sunday is video game characters.
Okay, we got some exciting ones for that.
I'm gonna be Princess Peach.
Aw, that's the
But
Mario.
yeah, from Mario. But I'm not doing like the costume that you buy. I'm putting one together. So I'm excited because it's super duper duper cute. So yeah,
Outfits and costumes.
yeah, and I need to get rid of that shit. I got so much stuff in here.
I'm excited for Chicago. I wanted to go Wednesday, but the people that I'm rooming with aren't going till Thursday.
Oh yeah.
So if I could just give me a little hotel room, because I wanted to do some fun stuff too. I didn't want to just go for work, because I'm kind of with you. This year, I told myself I just wanted to be like well balanced with everything, because I know you've been doing this way longer, so you could probably speak on when you first got your first like wind of like burnout or like wanting to do this. But I'm working on year 5, and for the past 4 years, all I focus on work, 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 work. And I'm just like, wow, like Paisley doesn't know what fun is. Paisley doesn't know what it's like to date. Paisley doesn't know what it's like to have like family time, to go out with our vanilla friends, which I was always like down, but we need those people that aren't in this industry to talk to.
That is my biggest piece of advice. Having been in the industry for 20 years, in fact, lately I've been struggling with what does my life look like after this? Because this has been my life for 20 years. No real personal time. I mean, my partner, who is amazing, does require me, like sometimes he'll force me to disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like every day from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, my day is consumed with something that has to do with the adult industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started realizing, I read this thing on Twitter where this gentleman was sharing a story about how his father had been in the tile industry. He was the tile guy. Everybody knew him as the tile guy. And for 40 or 50 years, that's all they knew him as, was the tile guy. And when he went to retire, of course, initially he was excited because when you retire, you think, oh my gosh, like this is what I've been working for my whole life. But then you end up with this like silence. Like, what do you do with yourself when you have consumed yourself with this identity? Then what do you do when that identity is not there anymore? So I started thinking about that, like what happens when I retire? Luckily, I've been building other businesses, so I'll still have other businesses to operate and run, which is also some advice that I give to people. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Never put 100% of your income, never put 100% of your energy, never put 100% of everything into just the adult industry. I always, always, always recommend, maybe it's just a blog about fashion. Maybe it's a blog about your weight loss journey or your weight gain journey or whatever, wanting to travel the globe, whatever. Those are things that can be extremely helpful in your transition to leaving this business, whether even if it's just, part time or full time. You want to have established some sort of hobby, a side business, or something to fall back on. Because one thing that's also happening right now is like we're in a very violent bank situation when it comes to adult content creators. A lot of these people are having a hard time getting uh, payment processing services.
Oh,
Visa, MasterCard, all these places are like really making it difficult for adult content creators. So, what happens? We just saw some banks shut down, has nothing to do with adult, but we have to look at that. Things are pretty crazy right now. And what happens if you can't get paid because of what you're doing is an adult website or an adult content creation or whatever? And like, yeah, it's great that we make all this money, but what happens when we can't make money? You need to have that backup plan in place, which is why I've been so adamant on YouTube, because the great thing about YouTube is that it's not adult. Even though I talk about adult things,
yeah.
it's not adult. So if for any reason I wanted to do a business that sells stickers or merch, custom merch, whatever, I could easily transition my channel to accommodate whatever my new business is. And all that hard work that I put into creating Platinum or iHeart or whatever, which is why I made iHeart less about adult and more just about size inclusiveness and body positivity and just supporting people in general. Because
And the magazine's dropping when?
magazine is dropping at Exotica, so it'll be a digital and a print. So yeah, I give that advice because there's a lot of crazy things happening right now, and we always, as a person who's doing any type of content creation, whether you're spicy content creator or not, you should always put contingency plans. You should have options. And you always want to set yourself up for, if this falls through, what's my next move? If this happens, what am I going to do? Um, so yeah, I'm actually coming out with a web series starting in May, where I'm going to talk about the different things that you need to think about. Like, one of the other things that I highly recommend is putting together a death plan. And I know it sounds morbid, but what happens if something happens to you?
Yeah.
You need to have someone that you trust that can get into your accounts, make sure that your family's able to withdraw your funds. If you require that they shut everything down, you know, they have permission, like you need to set up legal documentation that gives them permission to shut shit down. Like, you just need to think about that, because at any given time something can happen to you, and a lot of us have children and people that we would like to leave our money to, or like, and not only that, but like to explain how we want things to work.
Yeah.
So, for me, I'm going to leave it up to my family. If something happens to me, if they want to let my stuff continue to make money, I'm cool with them continuing to collect that check.
Yeah.
I worked hard. Don't go look at it, but
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, get on my computer, figure out what needs to be edited, get it out there, publish it, make that money. Because I work hard on my stuff.
right. I didn't spend 20 years in the business for, you know what I'm saying? For, don't cut the money off. So yeah, but that's not something a lot of people think about. They don't consider, putting together some sort of instructions on what would your wishes be.
Yeah.
For me, I'm so basic. I'm like, I don't care. If I'm dead, I'm dead. Like, do what you do. If you want to shut everything down and don't want it to be on the internet, by all means, take the time, go shut it down, or pay somebody to shut it down. I also have a person that I trust listed so that if, something happens, they could be like, hey, can you take care of this? And that person would have access to like passwords and things of that nature. So, but yeah, that's something that we don't think about. Also, putting together a contingency plan if, let's say, you are a content creator and your boyfriend or girlfriend has been your co-partner or your co-performer, your co-star,
Mhm.
and let's say you've done 2 or 3 years of content and you guys break up.
What happens then?
What happens then?
That can get a
You,
little messy.
you probably didn't get model release forms. Somebody's going to say, take my shit down. They don't want you making money from it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're both in the industry full time, then, how do you work out who gets what? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to think about. And now your whole business rests on this relationship that now is no longer functional, and you're having to fight for your content. What do? Who owns it? Who gets to use it? Like,
Yeah.
things we don't think about because we're action people. We want to just do it. And then when, but you always have to prepare for situations. What one thing I can say is like 20 years in the business, I've experienced a lot of this stuff. Like, I've been a part of a website that's literally here today, gone tomorrow. And I had money in there and they took it with them. And I was like, ooh, load.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Will do. I'm glad. At first, I wanted the person I was with at the time to like help me out with this, but I'm kind of glad I've just been like doing it all by myself. For the most part, because what happens when you do break up and then they're like, "Oh, I don't want this," and you're right. When you're in a relationship, you're not thinking like, "Hey, baby, sign this model contract." You're just like, "Fuck it, put it up there. Here's my ID." So I think that's important. Even for friendships too. I know we talked about that
oh yes, definitely for friendships.
because when those friendships break off, then they're screaming, "Take my content down," or you're having those same kind of issues as well.
It happens. We're human. And sometimes, like, I know for me, I'm constantly trying to evolve. I'm constantly trying to grow. I want to learn. And sometimes, more often than not, you end up in these situations that you're like, why was I friends with this person? Like, you don't match. And you
Mm,
don't think about it because I'm a type of person, like, I'm just a giver. I'm just a bonder. Like, I love helping people. And
yeah.
so
I can
I'll
vouch
be in a,
for that.
what was that?
I said I can definitely vouch for that. You are that person.
And so I just give, give, give. But at some point, you know, I have to sit down and assess the people that I spend the most time with, that I am, you know, I don't want to say getting advice from because I'm just not that type of person. Like, I'm not gonna call you and be like, "What should I do about my boyfriend?" Like, I'm just gonna figure that shit out because I don't like to include too many people into too many things because it gets messy. But when it
Yeah.
comes to friendships, like, I just have to reassess things sometimes because sometimes people are energy vampires or they don't reciprocate the same um energy. Not everybody wants to see you win.
Mhm.
So sometimes you got to be like, is this person really, do they need to be in my corner? But to circle back to what we were talking about, you shot content with this person, you didn't get IDs and release forms from them. Something happens, and sometimes people just wake up and don't want to fuck with you no more. Who knows what happened?
Yeah.
And now what? You have this content that legally you're not supposed to use. Many of the sites won't let you use it because they require you to verify that you have the proper documentation. And so then what?
You just screwed out of making money off that piece of content and gotta toss it
It's
down.
a done dizzy. So if you're in not only just adult content, but this is something that you should think about with regular content too. Because it's not just adult content. If you shoot any type of series, let's say you do a YouTube series with somebody, if you don't have something in writing, any type of contractual agreement as to what the structure of your show is, who owns the content, if for any reason you decide you want to walk away or whatever. Like, these are things that a lot of YouTubers have experienced because, you know, you do these collabs, you vibe with somebody, and sometimes the vibe runs out. Sometimes that vibe stops vibing, and when that happens and you find yourself in this situation where it's like, I like to say it's the Backstreet Boys, or like, not Backstreet Boys, but NSYNC. You know how, everyone's a group, everything's cool, and then there's always like one person who wants to go off and do their solo career.
Mm-hmm.
That happens in friendships and groups all the time. Sometimes people just rather do it by themselves. And so, what happens when it's time to walk away and all that work that you've put in, what happens?
Yeah, you definitely have to plan out those things from the beginning. I'm glad when I started my podcast, like had made that clear that if I was to break up, because I did have like a team at that time, that this is my content. Nowadays, I try to just, maybe I should be vocalize it more, but I try to do like even exchanges. Like, I'll come on yours, you come on mine. I had someone ask me, could they have the interview that I did of them? And I'm like, no, that's my content, So I have to be more clear, I guess, about those types of things as well, not just super like sex work stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, communication is key. It is. I did some of your confirmations last year when we put some of the girls on Doobies to Dollars. You see, I'm efficient. I had everything on there. I was like, this is how it works. This is what you need, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I made sure like you had everything in place so that there were no questions what the intentions were, what the expectations were.
Mhm.
Like, I like to make sure from beginning to end. And that's the same thing when you're shooting collabs as well. Like, you should definitely communicate before you actually do the collab. There's a lot of communication that needs to take place. And that's why for me, I really don't do collabs anymore because I'm very thorough. I want to know, like, if we're doing any type of, spicy content, well, not so much anymore because I haven't shot this kind of stuff in a while, but like years before, I was like, I need to see testing. I need to know, like, and I'll ask you, like, what is your life, your sex life like? Because just getting tested for me wasn't enough. I want to know, like, are you participating in lifestyle parties? Are you shooting content on a regular basis? Do you have a partner? Are you sexually active personally? Like, a lot of people think that's none of my business, but I feel like if I am offering you my body, whether it's for business, pleasure, or otherwise, I want to know these things. You ask your partner before you ask somebody before you, well, at least I hope you do. You ask them questions like, you know, do you wear condoms? Like, a lot of people are doing things, and I'm not a judgment person. It's not intended to judge. It's just so that I know what am I getting myself into, so that if something happens, I'm not like shocked, surprised, and
And then you could take that chance. Okay, do I want to continue on, or do I want to not do it because they a little too wild, or what?
right. Well, that, in fact, probably like 12 years ago, there was a guy that was claiming to be male talent. We'll just say that.
Okay.
And he was getting ready to shoot with one of the girls, and we asked about testing. And he was like, oh, he gave me some like whack ass answer. And I was like, what? So in the meantime, between time, the universe has its way of revealing all things. I didn't even need to ask because the universe eventually came out, and there was a whole Twitter thread about how somebody found his homosexual escorting page on back. Well, this is when Craigslist and Backpage were
Okay.
still a thing. So they found his ads for homosexual prostitution on Backpage. Then they found him in a bunch of lifestyle groups doing a lot of things with no protection. And then a couple of the females came out and were talking about how they had relations with him off camera, also no protection. So it became a big conversation about, and I'm like, I don't even care if you're tested, because at this point you have a lot of risk factors that make shooting with you absolutely not something I'm interested in doing. Because, and he was like, oh, it's because I do, it's because I've had sex with men, I'm bi, blah blah. I was like, I don't give a shit about that. I just feel like you got too many bullets in your chamber.
And that's something I didn't think about before, because before the adult industry, I really wanted to like try out swingers parties and stuff. But like in hindsight, looking back at it, I'm just like, and then we were on that one app, which I don't want to say, but we was on that one app, and they were talking about like lifestyle parties all the time, and I'm wondering like, are these people getting tested? Because I know my adult industry friends all go through town tested, but then it's like you want to enjoy your personal life and go to a swingers party, like these people aren't really getting tested. So it's just like, well, I don't know. I don't see how you just sign up to go to a party. I don't think they require testing. So
they don't require testing. I mean, some of them do. It really depends. It depends on the group. It depends on the couples. I mean, I guess but here's the thing. One of the conversations that I've had, I don't know how many times in the course of my time in this industry, no one ever asked me, no one ever told me. I mean, I knew about getting tested, but it wasn't something that I even thought about in my everyday life until I got in the industry. Now that I've been in the industry, it is a conversation that I have on an almost daily basis. And even though I'm not shooting porn, and even though I don't have multiple partners, like I've been with my partner for 10 years, I haven't had sex with anyone else, and I still get tested. I still get tested because now that has become a part of my normal regimen. Obviously, I don't do it as often as others because it's not necessary. Like my doctor's office is not about to test me every 30 days because they're like, are you having, because then they ask you the questions like, are you participating in prostitution, or do are you using IV drugs or like needles and stuff like that? And I'm like, no. So they're like, why are you continuing to get tested? Like, do you have multiple partners? No. They're like, you don't need it every 30 days. So I still get tested pretty frequently, usually every 3 months, just because it's part of my normal regimen now. Like, I don't know how not to, not
yeah,
to.
because you just really want. It's very important to know your status.
It is. It's imperative for me. Like, even though I'm not an active adult film star, even though I don't participate in those activities, even though I'm the safest I've been my whole life, like I'm more safe now than I ever was, I still think it's important to get tested because one, some of those things from the past can creep up in the future. I want to be aware of that shit like immediately.
Yeah.
Secondly, what's the harm? There's no telling. I'm not saying that my partner is a cheater. I'm not saying that my partner participates in activities that I'm suspicious of, because that's not the case at all. But you just never know.
Yeah.
And, I would know because I'd be like, oh, honey, I know where my coochie's been.
Yeah. That's the thing. Now I feel the need to get tested more frequently because I was in this long relationship, and that's the only person I was having sex with. Right. But now I'm moving into single life, trying to get my groove back, and I don't know. I just find that to be important.
It is very important. Your sexual health. I mean, that's so you have to think about in any line of business, in any career that you choose, in anything that you're doing, there's always going to be risk factors, even in vanilla world. If you go working in finance, if the market crashes, boom, what happens to your job? Like I worked in real estate as a second income during the time that the housing market crashed. So instantly over the course of, 24 hours, my job was gone. So you have to think about in everything that you do, if you sell drugs, you could get robbed, you could get killed, you got the cartel, you got the law enforcement. Like there's a lot of risks that go into the things that you choose to do. And when you are having personal sex with somebody, again, still a risk because you are performing, activities that.
It is a whole performance with me now.
Oh, is it now? So let's talk about that, Paisley. Let's talk about life now versus the last time we talked because you were in a relationship. So what do you see in the future for Paisley?
What I see in the future for Paisley is not letting anything get in the way of my life's purpose. So I'll say this: anybody that like I date or anything, our stuff has to align perfectly, or it's just not for me. Because one thing that I did do in my relationship and just kind of reflecting on things is I put all my focus into work. Work was my number one thing.
Right.
And I didn't really dedicate time to a partner, but at the same time, me and him were like this. If I have a partner and we don't have to be in the same industry per se. I do think it would be easier for me to date a sex worker. I'm not going to lie, just because they kind of understand my lifestyle, even though I don't really do porn, or at least some sort of creator, because I need them to be busy. But if they're not like this with me, I can't do it. So most importantly, my life's purpose and getting to like my real financial goals is still my number one. But I'd like to have someone to share those things with for sure. For the past okay, so I've been in a relationship for 8 years, but for the past 3 years, I feel like I've just been single. We've kind of been roommates. We haven't really been having sex. That has been completely non-existent, like no touching or nothing since last July, so almost a year. Well, in a couple months it'll be a year. And just having all that time to reflect by myself allowed me to think of setting boundaries for my next partner. Like, this is what I expect. Like, if you don't meet these and standards, if you don't meet these standards and expectations, then I'm sorry. Like, I'm not even gonna waste your time. you know? So I think it's hard. Dating now, I feel like it would be hard to kind of come and meet someone off the rip and just say those things, but I'm just gonna have to. So before anybody takes me out on a date, they're gonna know like this is what I want. If that's not what you're wanting, like don't even waste your time with me. Was that your question?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah. Moving off into my sex world, so like, or my personal sex life, I've only had sex with 3 people in literally like the past decade. And so I've never had my whole phase, but I have this problem when I start fucking someone, it's like that's the only person I choose to fuck because I really don't want to be sleeping with multiple people. But then I feel like, in a sense, I'm doing myself a disservice because I've never had that whole phase, and I'm 33. What you think about that? Like, I never like fucked around. Like, I kind of want to fuck around, but then I have this problem in my head. It's just like, even if I'm not with the person or whatever, like if I'm fucking you, you're pretty much going to be the only person that I'm doing. So that's my dilemma.
Yeah, you need your whole phase. You gotta let loose. You gotta let. Because here's the thing: you've based your standards off of what you've experienced. But I feel like once you go through your whole phase and you like meet different people, you may find that what you think you want really isn't what you want. And that's going to be a problem because as you start dating people, you think that's what you want, you get into it, and you're going to end up in another 8-year relationship that ends similarly, or even worse. Like you seem to be going through an amicable breakup, right? Like things are peaceful
Oh
for the
yeah,
most part. Yeah.
cordial.
But that's not normal. That's a great situation to be in, but it doesn't happen frequently. You know what I mean? Like that's not a typical breakup. So you could be in a situation where you think that this is the one, but really it's because you just didn't really know exactly what Paisley wants because you think you know what you want, but what happens when you get it? and I know from experience, I've done this. Before I got with my current partner, I was having a hard time because I thought I knew what I wanted. But the universe had a way of, even though I thought I knew what I wanted, when I got my partner, the first year was a massive struggle. One, I had been single for so long and doing my adult industry stuff and just doing whatever I wanted to do and didn't think I had to answer to anybody. And even though we're like not the type of people that have to answer to each other in our relationship, it was different because he's definitely a no frills, no sugar coating. Like if he feels it, thinks it, he's gonna say it.
What's his
So, huh?
What's his sign?
Cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a Cancer. So, and I'm an Aquarius. So, it was definitely a different situation and it took a lot of adjustment, but I was looking for a Disney romance. I wanted the flowers and the candies and the dates and the like I wanted to go and look at the stars and that kind of, stuff. You know what I mean? At that time, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be swept off my feet and
Mm-hmm.
treated like a Disney princess. And then I meet him and he's not like typical romantic, like he's not romantic. He does things, so his love language is very, what's the word I'm looking for? His love language is very practical.
Okay.
So one year for Valentine's Day, he took me to go register my business so that everything that I was doing was under a legitimate business.
See, I need somebody like that now.
Right. So when I say practical, he's not going to get me like flowers and candy for Valentine's Day. He's gonna get me something like, if we need a washer, then he'd get like a washer. Or if I need a car, he'll help. You know what I'm saying? Like that's his focus. He wants to make sure that I have the things that I need every day, not
Mhm.
the things that make me feel special for the day, if that
Oh,
makes sense.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
he's very practical. But I found that to be the most romantic because somebody who wants to see me succeed is far more priceless. Like that, the value of someone who's helping me build myself, not to do something for him, not to do something with him, but something that makes me as an individual more valuable, more successful, more, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just betters me as a person. Like that to me was the ultimate love language. So what I'm saying is I would not have normally been in this situation because I'd have been like, ooh, he's not even romantic. Ooh, he didn't get me nothing for my birthday. Oh, he didn't get me nothing for Valentine's Day. But he's a daily giver. Like he makes sure a bill needs to be paid. Boom, it's paid.
Mm-hmm.
The yard needs to be taken care of. He'll go hire somebody, make sure the yard gets taken care of. The car needs to be fixed. Boom, he'll make sure the car is fixed. So for me, that was something that I wouldn't have considered to be romantic, but then eventually was like, that's even more romantic than some anybody can go buy flowers.
Well, see, I ain't been getting none of that the past 8 years, so I'm gonna need it all. I need the romance. I need you to treat me like a princess. I need you to allow me to be a lady and be soft. I don't always want to figure shit out. Like you just pick and choose everything. Like I'm just gonna follow.
Oh shit. I
That's
don't Do you know how to do that? I don't think you know how to do that. Especially since you've been the strong person in for so long and also, being a mom, you know what I'm saying? Like
I'll say this for the right person, yes. I feel like if they meet my qualifications, then
they make it in the face too.
if they make it into phase 2, which is actually to take like I have to allow you to want to be in my presence. I've had guys try to talk to me in the past couple months, and I'm just like, oh hell to the nah, like. Mm-mm. But if you make it to where I allow you to take me out, then I can kind of see where that's going, and I don't know. Like I said, if our shit is aligned, then what?
Question. You just said I've there's a lot of guys trying to take me out. What are some things that are immediate turnoffs that make you say, I can't let you take me out?
Well, first off, I do want to be physically attracted to you. I think it's not all about physical, but you have to be aesthetically pleasing to me. I have to think you're somewhat attractive. So I think people say that they don't look at that surface level, but I do. Like if you're not attractive to me, then I don't even want to go out with you. Conversation. So we have that initial conversation. Hey, how you doing? You ask me, hey, how are you doing, Paisley? What are you up to? I'm always gonna say something like, oh, I'm working on my goals for the day. And if you don't understand what that means, if you sit up there and you work in a regular job and you're complaining about your boss and this, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not that bitch. Like I don't want to hear about your everyday if it's not kind of in my world in a sense. So if I say I like guys when I say, "Oh, I'm working on my goals." Well, what are your goals? Well, today I need to get this accomplished. I want to reach at least $300. And they ask me like how my schedule's going. Like I don't know. I like them to be in my world in a sense. Like if you can't have those types of conversations with me or outside of work, if we can't have like if I talk to you about my crystals and stuff, I just can only speak of the stuff that's important to me. But if I start talking about my spiritual world and you have something to say negative about that, now mind you, I would date an atheist, a Satanist, a Christian, a Buddhist. Like I don't care what religion you are, but you can't disrespect my spiritual beliefs. So that, and if we just can't have, if you don't know how to have an intellectual conversation, like we can't talk about things and go deep, stare into each other's eyes and just have conversations. Like
Oh my god, you're so cute. You're so cute.
then I just don't want it. Like I don't want a regular schmegular guy.
Well, I am looking for a cloning service. My partner, he's dope. Like I, the reason why I'm asking is because I have to remind myself that because you in everyday life you can become complacent. Sometimes you forget that you're in this like dope ass relationship, and I'm just like by talking to other people and hearing the things that they're going through, it really like forces me to acknowledge and recognize and appreciate my situation because albeit it's not perfect, it's perfect for me. And we don't really argue. We're not the couple that fights all the time. In fact, we get into little situations every now and again because I have a tendency to be an airhead.
Mm.
Fun fact. No, I just go through, sometimes I get tunnel vision and I don't think about important things. I'm missing things that he finds important that I probably should find important, but because, and especially like one of the biggest things that we have argued about more often than not is being in the adult industry because I do give it so much time and attention. I get tunnel vision and forget that, there's laundry that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend 14 hours working on graphics, editing, uploading to my sites, filming videos, doing lives.
Look, I can call you no matter what time of day or night. It's work.
Right. And he has to be like, there'll be times it'll be like 4 o'clock in the morning and he'll be like, put your fucking phone down. And I'd be like, okay, my bad. He'd be like, I'm trying to sleep. You got that bright ass light up and you need to get some sleep. How productive do you plan to be tomorrow if you haven't gotten your sleep?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, if I have the energy and my brain can't shut off, I'll just keep going, keep going, keep going. And sometimes I'll have insomnia where I'll just be up all night and just never go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing about him is he's very adamant about breaking up and being like sometimes he'll come home from work and at like 10 o'clock he'll be like, all right, shut down, come on, let's watch TV, we'll watch Cheaters or that's our show.
Those moments like that I didn't give those types of moments in my last relationship, but I kind of didn't see us being on the same page either, which was probably unfair that I dragged it along so long. But definitely I can appreciate them type of moments where it's just like, oh, no work, Just chill. Another thing I think you brought up is I think we talk about love languages a lot as just people and dating and stuff. But one thing for me is I have to know how you argue. So I ask the questions. How do you get when you're mad? Like what really pisses you off? What annoys you? How are you gonna be if we're going through this situation and I come to you with my feelings? Are you going to just dismiss my feelings? Are you going to care about them? Like because I'm not no nagging ass bitch. I'm really not jealous. But I do get bothered about things. I'm human. So it's just like I need you to be able to clearly communicate with me about those sort types of things. And that's not something you see from the beginning, but I vowed not to give a representative Paisley like from first date on like you getting the real me. You don't like it or you don't.
Right.
But I find it, how do you tell, like, from the beginning how someone argues because people want to put on these representatives? I don't like that. I want to skip past that stage.
So with my partner, okay, so we have a very unique relationship dynamic. We operate like a business. And I know that sounds crazy, but it is so functional and so healthy. And because our focus isn't on feelings, so I've learned over the years, I don't want to say that I don't have feelings, but I don't give my feelings much value. And the reason why is because feelings change. And
Mhm.
unless it's something that I feel 100% adamant about, like, for instance, something I'm super passionate about, like, let's just say my grandkids. I'm very passionate about my grandkids. So that's definitely um, something that I wouldn't waver on. But if it's something where he makes a comment and I sit back for a second and I'm like, did he just say that? I don't I instantly reconsider what just happened,
Mhm.
because I feel like I have given my feelings so much control over my life that it's affected me personally, it's affected in my business. And I have noticed and I'm not saying people's feelings aren't valid, and I'm not saying you shouldn't feel. What I'm saying is that we, especially as females, will make decisions off of emotions. We will react off of emotions. We put so much value into our feelings and emotions that sometimes those feelings come from places like, let's say I'm having a very sappy kind of day. Sometimes I watch some shit and I'd be like, oh, I don't know why I'm crying. And it's because my hormones are crazy. And so my feelings, albeit are valid, they're kind of not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm taking things personally that typically I wouldn't take personally. So I take that into consideration before I say something. Now, if it's something that I'm like, that was dead wrong, I have thought about it, I have processed it, I have analyzed it, and I have definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, 100% come to or the 97.9% come to the conclusion that that's an accurate feeling, that it's not a feeling that I just feel in a certain mood or at a certain time. Like, that is legitimately what I think, that's legitimately what I feel. And I will say that it's not typical, and it's difficult for other people to handle because other people want to express themselves and they'll be like, hey, you said this and I didn't like that, or you did this and blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, okay, touche. I'm not putting a whole lot of value in it, not saying that the person's feelings or what they are saying doesn't have any type of, like, I don't care about it. It just, I feel like as humans, we tend to focus on some really trivial things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that for me is like taking me off focus. It takes me off my path. Like, if I'm going to achieve my goals, you know, okay, so let's just use this for example. A few months ago, I had something very, 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 very traumatic and tragic happen in my life.
Mhm.
In fact, to be honest with you, I'm still kind of in the fog. Like, I haven't really mentally processed everything. And so I'm kind of, I don't want to say airheaded, but I'm missing a lot of important things that I would normally miss on a daily, that I would normally catch on a daily basis. And so my personality has been somewhat affected in the sense that I'm just kind of like, I feel like an empty shell just walking around. You know what I mean? Like I'm still waiting for my cup to fill. So this situation happened, and albeit I would be totally warranted and totally, it would be okay for me to take a lot of time off and just disconnect and, process what's happened. But I don't function like that. I function in one thing for certain, my business doesn't allow me to do that.
Mhm.
Two, I can't. I personally will, dive into my work and let my work be the distraction. But I said that to say I just don't sit down and retreat. You know what I mean? I I have the feelings and I'm processing them slowly and still maintaining focus, still doing what I need to do and not saying, okay, I need to feel sorry for myself. Or you know what I mean? Like I'm not turning into some, mush bucket. Wah, wah.
Man, I could be such a big crybaby, but when I feel myself getting into the modes, I'm like you. Like I'm gonna dive deep in work.
So, they say that diamonds are made under pressure. That's
Hmm.
why I do that because I feel like I want, and I'm also an energy person, and I don't, when I feel like that, one, I don't know how to sit still. I can't sit still. I don't know how. Every time I say I'm taking a vacation, it never turns into a vacation. So that's one. I'm just a busybody. I'm just a person whose brain doesn't shut off. So I don't, a moment of silence, what's that?
Same. I'm
what's
just
what's being
all.
quiet? But yeah, so I feel like, I just operate differently, and I'm just a different person in terms of not giving into my feelings. But I operated my life for many, many years as a dysfunctional adult on feelings. And so I just, I'm going a different route. And for me, it's been very successful. I'm not going to say I don't have moments where I break down because I still have to allow myself to feel, and I still have to allow myself to let those feelings be valid. But I just don't, because I'm also a person who's prone to depression. So if I let those feelings take over, that's all I would do is sleep. I'd be in a depression that ain't shit getting done, and bills don't get paid, and I could lose my partner, I could lose my house, I could lose my business. Like there's a lot of things, that are affected. So, and I don't know if that's a life trained thing that I've accomplished. I don't know if it's an accomplishment. I mean, when you're talking about mental health, not everybody has that same, not everybody's able to do that. Not everybody wants to do that. And not everybody should. You have to deal with your mental health how you see fit. If sleeping under your covers for, 2 weeks is what helps you get through that depression or your mental health state, by all means, you do what works best for you.
Yeah. See, I feel like I don't know if I've ever had like depression or mental issues or just any focus on my mental health because I've always from a child have been in survival mode. And so my phone,
Same.
we're gonna wrap it up in like 10 minutes because my phone probably gonna die. But I feel like I've just been in survival mode, like with everything. And even now, like it's like now I'm getting back out into this world and I'm doing everything on my own and all the bills are up underneath me. And if it doesn't get paid, then I have my child that likes these expensive shoes and always wanting something. So I don't wanna say no. Like I don't like telling my child like no. Well, you gotta say no sometimes as a parent, but I want to be able to provide things if she's deserving of those things. Whenever she asks. So
I have an idea for you.
what?
So, one of the best things that you can do for your child is teach them how to be an entrepreneur now.
Mm,
Set up your business, So whether like it's an Etsy where you guys do digital products like creating monograms or stickers, or even if it's not, and I can, like there's ways that you can do drop shipping and outsourcing.
Mhm.
But one of the best things that you can do for your child is teach them your entrepreneurship ways, especially now, because once they get that in their blood and they like get a taste of that money, the other thing that comes from that, once they're making their own money, maybe your kid likes to draw, or maybe your kid's great with crafts, or maybe your kid's great with whatever. You figure out what it is that your kid is great with, and you can either set up your business, like let's say you have, um, Paisley's, well, I wouldn't use Paisley, but whatever, you could have like your little crafting business. We'll just use crafting as an example. You set up your business, you get your LLC, you get your business bank account, you set up everything as a legitimate business, which also helps you with your business credit. And you can pay your child a salary
Mm.
tax free. So you get your kid involved in your business, whether it's helping you organize your craft stuff or being involved in the crafting process.
Mhm.
This will also help your kid have, you want to, like teach them how to do business, because one of the things I wish that my parents would have taught me was how to do business, because I
Yeah.
was sitting, I was trapped, like I went to college, then I dropped out of college and started working. I mean, I always worked, but then I was like, I'm gonna focus on my career. And being in corporate America taught me just how invaluable people find. I was an ambitious worker. I was the type of person that, even though I did customer service, I did accounting, I did um, inventory. I could do anything. You could literally just put me anywhere. I made myself in like so valuable, but they didn't recognize that. To them, it was threatening because the person in accounting thought I was coming for their job. The person in inventory thought I was coming for their job. They felt threatened because I was so ambitious, so smart, so talented. And, corporate America did not appreciate me. Now, as an entrepreneur, guess what? All of those skills, talents, and that experience is the opposite, because the more you're ambitious, the more energy, time, and the better you are, your business begins to
Yeah.
grow, and you are in control of how much money you make. And I haven't worked for somebody in 20 years.
Whew, that's a good
20
point.
years. And I live a good life. So, what I'm saying is, as you're talking about your kid loves expensive sneakers, remove the responsibility of those things from your pocketbook and help your child develop the skills and the ambition to want to do it for themselves, because they're going to buy their first pair of shoes and be like, oh my God, nothing is the same as feeling like I just bought this for myself. Not my mom bought me these, not my dad bought these, or my grandma, or whatever. When you buy something for yourself, and I'm gonna tell you, I still own the very first thing that I bought with my very first paycheck from my very first job. And it was a Gap t-shirt. It's got holes in it, it's faded, but I keep it as a reminder of independence and becoming like that was the first step of becoming a responsible adult.
Hmm.
So my advice is, start, as you're working on your business stuff, sit down with your daughter and teach her goal making, creating a schedule, all the things that you teach all of these other people on your YouTube channel. You got to start teaching that with your child,
Mm.
because you don't want your child going out there and having someone else make them think that something else is more important. Nothing is more important than being independent and being an entrepreneur, especially in today's world.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
So
She has a
I
little bit of that because she's been asking me about my YouTube channel like every couple months. Is it monetized yet? Are you gonna get your check? How many more hours do you need? So her little brain's definitely flowing. So that's a good idea. I need to figure out some projects me and little R could do.
little R, I love that. Yeah, definitely. And not only that, but like, especially now, because I know that as your child gets older, as they get towards their teenage years, they will become distracted with other things. If they're like really focused into the business, all that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah, and
And not only that, but like,
we're going into 6th grade.
yeah, this is the time. This is the time to do it. Best advice. I gave this advice to my sister-in-law, and this was 6 years ago. So, her daughter was 14, so she's 20 now.
Mhm.
She runs a very, very successful. So she does the sublimation paper. So like when you print stuff on T-shirts, like this is vinyl, but
Mhm.
there's like sublimation paper, and she does like a lot of T-shirt pressing and like
Oh,
craft DIYs. Like that's why I said crafting, because and it's all started when she was like 12, because my sister-in-law got into the cricket and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of how I got into it, but they're way more advanced than I. But anyway, so they started doing it, and like the daughter wanted to get involved, but she was like, so busy with her business, and I was like, teach her how to do it. Let her do her own stuff. So now she does the daughter, so my sister-in-law does more than that. She does like the farmhouse stuff, like the stuff that you see on YouTube, the Dollar Tree DIYs. She's kind of one of those people,
okay.
like decor and shit like that. But the daughter took on she loves doing t-shirts, and she also draws. So now she uses her iPad, she does her drawing, she prints it out on a sublimation paper, sticks it on a t-shirt, and like her t-shirts are really popular.
Hmm.
Where she lives in Seattle, so out there they're into that weird stuff. So but I said that to say she's become mad successful, and at 20 she's paying for her own college, she's buying her own house. Like, she's taken the 6 years that she's learned from day one, established her business, and really grown to be something that, yeah, she still has aspirations. I think she's going to school to be a vet. She wants to be a veterinarian because she loves animals. But ultimately, she's operating this business, still able to function, doesn't have to work for other people, can still travel, can take off, go to school when she wants to. You know what I mean? Like, she's
Yeah.
developed this life. And it really helped keep her, because when she was 14, and this is kind of how the conversation even started, is she was starting to have some friends that were not good influences on her. And so my sister-in-law was very concerned about where that was going to lead. So
Mhm.
I think we saved her from a teenage pregnancy.
Oh, amen to that. I was the first one in my family not to have a baby as a teenager, so hey.
I did. I had my daughter when I was 17, so
Yeah, my mama had me at 15. So
yeah.
we understand that lifestyle, but if we can prevent it.
If we could prevent it, that would be fantastic. Having a child when you're still a child and still mentally growing is definitely. Now, if I'd have had a better family support system, it might have been different, but 10 out of 10 I don't recommend.
For sure. Well, before we wrap this up, is there any last words you want to say? I'm gonna put all your links and stuff below. Where can we get the merch? Where can we find you?
Oh shit! I had to push it back up. All right, so you can find the merch on iheartbbw.com. There's a link at the top. In fact, we are getting ready to run a special. I'm going to put a bunch of things on sale, and you can use promo code MARCH, MARCH, for the rest of March to receive 20% off everything on the store.
Oh, where can girls sign up if they want to be in future fashion shows or want to be a part of iHeartBBW.com? Because I get a lot of BBWs on this channel that, they want to buy the fake pictures of skinnier models, and I really just try to get them to embrace themselves. So, how could they be a part of it?
Go to iheartbbw.com /application. If you go to the website at the very top, there's a bunch of links, and up there it'll say BBW Fashion Show application. You'll want to fill out the application, but more importantly, come to our lives. Show your face, or well, not necessarily face, but let's see your name, comments. showing support on social media. Those are ways that are going to get you seen so much faster. In fact, we have girls that have come to our previous lives that are now part of the team that are also a part of the fashion show. So there's the ability to grow. You just have to show some support, and it's free to do. It doesn't cost anything. Of course, we love when you buy merch too. That is also, they also bought merch, but the buying of the merch was just an added bonus. We saw them at every live, and when one of the tips that I have, if you're ever trying to become a brand ambassador or you want to link up with a specific company, a team, or whatever, show support through social media. People see that and recognize that. And when they start seeing your name frequently and they see that you put that much time and energy into the support without any like having anything in return, they're more inclined to give you something. Because one, if I'm going to hire you to be a brand ambassador for my brand, I want to make sure you're going to do the work.
Yeah.
So if you're showing support through lives, then you've already shown that you're going to not only show up, support, but you're going to put the time in that's needed to invest in that particular relationships. It costs $0 to do.
Yeah.
Support is free. So show up to our lives, comment, let's see your name, go to our social media, follow us, reshare, share our posts, watch our YouTube videos.
And I'm gonna see if y'all on the YouTube, because I be on that YouTube on Thursday, so I need to see some of y'all there.
Yeah, we have so much fun.
Those are really fun.
They are. So, but thank you so much for having me, Paisley.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Okay, how we do this again? I always forget this.
Remember, peace sign.
Oh.
And then curve. There you go.
Yay, it's getting
Peace,
better.
love. Peace, love. Peace, love.
I remember that peace sign.
Yeah, that's how I figured it out, because I struggled with it because it just looks hard, but it's really not. And then I was like, when I figured it out, I was like, oh, okay. You just take 2 fingers and So peace and love. That's how I figured it out.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I'm gonna put everything, all your links and stuff in the description once this video uploads.
Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel, iHeart BBW, and we'll see you guys Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Bye.
Bye.